in this area?
A little bit of shortening as the trap comes up, a little bit of crunching.
Okay. Oh, okay.
There, and then, a little ratcheting and pinching back here under the lat.
So when we have a report here on the lateral deltoid, we would assume, plus he's talking about some shortening feeling here, that really sounds like a supraspinatus issue, because supraspinatus does refer down past the shoulder, whereas the trapezius, which could be shortening, will not. The trapezius stays in the neck and the shoulder. So anything that goes down the arm, we know we're dealing with one of the rotator cuff muscles, most likely, possibly more than one. The infraspinatus can also have a stabilizing function when we're doing abduction or any arm movement, really. All of the rotator cuff muscles have to collaborate. Now, you have to have, in order to get full abduction, you have to have scapular rotation, and then you have to have movement of the arm with respect to the scapula. So we're going to have to evaluate both of those elements. He may be limited in his scapular motion. Then we're dealing with scapular stabilizer muscles, which will include the pecminer, serratus, the trapezius, levator, all of those muscles that attach to the scapula. So to fully evaluate what might be limiting the abduction, we also need to evaluate the scapular motion. So as you abduct, we should have a 2-to-1 rhythm with respect to the scapula. And let's do that one more time. So my finger is on his inferior angle, and that is really hardly moving. Right, hardly moving at all. Moves about an inch. And so now do it one more time and then tell me where you start to feel a problem. About there.
Tricep, rear delt, infraspinatus, trap, supra. Even feels like rhomboids, even a little crunching.
Yeah. So in this situation, we're not getting correct glenohumeral rhythm because that scapula is not rotating as much as it should be. So he's probably testing the limits of those adductor muscles very quickly, and then the supra is going to be sensitive to that because it's going to encounter a lot more resistance than it normally should. If that scapula is not coming around, allowing the supra to shorten, then the supra is going to have to pull harder. So this is a very good assessment to do in the beginning, because you do have to consider both aspects, the scapular positioning side to correct the ability of the scapula to move, and then also the glenohumeral actions that move the arm with respect to the scapula itself. From the low trap, we're going to be coming more into mid-trap fibers, and those are going to be more directly opposed to some of the serratus anterior and the pec major. So the next group we have to deal with is going to be this group. I like to do pec major first, usually, because it will impede our ability to do serratus anterior if we don't treat that muscle first, if it's tight. What I find with people is it's usually the clavicular pec major that's the issue, so we're going to get to that pretty quick. The sternal, unless they're doing particular athletic things, the sternal doesn't tend to be, or the costal, that doesn't tend to be the big issue. So first we'll do some mid-trap. I like to just see, do these contract on the short? They do. So as I come back, so here the muscle's soft, and I'm just palpate inside the medial border. I feel the muscle soft. Now as I start to move back, right there, they're starting to twitch. Boom, there they're engaging. So you can feel that boundary where they want to engage. That's contraction on the short. That's because they have trigger points. So our first job is to get those to not contract on the short. Hopefully we can just do that here. Usually that happens pretty fast with the liberator. So I'll keep them under some stretch, come through. So you see the scapula moving around there. What's happening?
That was wild. The most inferior points were a little bit uncomfortable, but once again, the last couple of seconds, everything started to melt away
Yeah,
again.
yeah. Okay. Yeah, and you can see, even though the fiber direction is starting to come this way, the scapula is actually angling up, so it's probably chaining up into the high trap and the levator and firing those muscles. Now I'm going to start working into short and then doing some liberator and try to get this happier going short. So this is really the same thing we're doing when we clean the wing. You know, if I have my thumb there, except my thumb is moving, 12 or 1400 times a second. How did that feel?
Phenomenal. Yeah, just,
Yeah.
it's hard to describe. It's just,
Yeah, it can be quite amazing. And now I can shorten them and I can get my fingers underneath the scapular border. So those muscles are no longer contracting on the short.
I feel no need like I want to help you either.
Right.
I wanna,
That need to
that contraction. Yeah.
contract, yeah. Coaching the body works by identifying the muscles at each stage that limit motion through pain referral. We use the muscle liberator tool to treat the limiting muscles, each in a specific way. The magic isn't in the tool. It's understanding the true function, fiber direction, and characteristics of each of the important shoulder muscles that makes a difference. Let me show you how to get benefits like this in a single session. If you're interested, click below to find out more.
All right, so